Can I eat with you, little girl? Thin, barefoot, her skin was dark and dry, her tiny feet scratched and bruised. Her hair was messy, tangled in small clumps. Her dress, if it could even be called that, was no more than a piece of cloth barely covering her tiny shoulders. She looked like she had walked through every storm and had no place left to go. She couldn't have been more than 8. Nathan's chest tightened. His mouth felt dry. Before he could answer, the sharp hiss of disapproval sliced through the air. "There's a beggar in here," a man's voice spat from across the room. Another voice, cruel and cold, followed. "Who called security? She doesn't belong here. Rich men with tailored suits." Before we continue, please do subscribe to my channel. Women in sparkling diamonds, waiters frozen in place, judging eyes, disgusted faces, whispers behind napkins. The Mercer Lounge was not a place for kindness. It was a fortress of wealth, a temple of power. No child like her had ever stepped through its golden doors unless it was to wipe floors or collect trash. And now, she stood here barefoot and hungry, daring to ask the richest man in the room for a seat at his table. Nathan stood up, slowly, calmly. Every eye was on him. The girl's tiny hand trembled by her side, her lips pressed together, fighting back fear. Nathan's voice was gentle. "What's your name?" Her throat bobbed. She blinked twice and whispered, "Hope." Nathan's heart squeezed. A name so soft, yet so strong. He pulled the chair out from across him and pointed, "Sit, Hope." The manager, a tall man in a black suit, stormed over. The entire restaurant gasped. A woman near the corner let out a shocked laugh. "You can't. This is against the manager," stuttered. "She is my guest," Nathan said firmly. But Sir Nathan's stare was cold, powerful. The manager shrank back. Hope stood there frozen, unsure, his darting between Nathan and the angry faces around her. "It's okay," Nathan smiled. "Softly, you can sit with me." Carefully, Hope pulled the chair out, her small fingers clutching the edge. Her legs dangled as she sat down, her knees knocking together from nerves and cold. Before she could even breathe, the heavy wooden doors of the Mercer Lounge flew open. 2 police officers barged in, scanning the room. "Report says a child trespassed in the building." The taller officer announced loudly. Nathan's jaw clenched, stood up again, his calm returning like steel. "She's not trespassing," Nathan said smoothly. "She's dining with me." The officer frowned. "Sir, is this your daughter?" "No." Nathan's voice stayed calm. "But she's under my protection now." The officers exchanged glances. The shorter one took a step forward. "Sir, if she's not family by law," Nathan reached into his blazer pocket and slowly pulled out a sleek black card holder. He flipped it open and displayed his identification. "Nathan Carter," he said, his tone cool, "CEO of Carter Holdings. I've personally funded your department's winter shelter program and equipment drives the last 2 years." The taller officer swallowed hard, recognizing the name instantly. His partner shifted uncomfortably. "Give us a moment," Nathan added quietly. "You can wait outside." After a pause, the taller officer nodded. "Yes, sir." The 2 officers walked out, leaving a cold hush in their wake. But the damage was done. A man in the far booth, young and sly-looking, lowered his phone with a grin. His fingers moved quickly, typing out a caption. "Billionaire Nathan Carter invites homeless black girl to dinner. Publicity stunt or real kindness?" Snap. A photo of Nathan standing beside a dirt-covered little girl in the most expensive restaurant in the city was already spreading like wildfire. Nathan sighed and sat back down. Across him, Hope clutched the white napkin like it was a golden treasure. Her eyes darted nervously. She hadn't even touched the basket of bread in front of her. Nathan's voice softened. "It's all right. You're safe. You can eat." She blinked, surprised, her small fingers hesitantly reaching for a bread roll. Her voice was fragile. "You don't want me to go?" Nathan's smile reached his tired eyes. "I invited you, didn't I?" Slowly, Hope smiled back. A tiny, shy smile. The first one of the evening, Nathan leaned forward, curiosity and concern swimming in his chest. "Where are your parents, Hope?" The little girl's smile faded. Her hand froze halfway to her mouth. Her shoulders dropped. "Gone," she whispered. Nathan's throat tightened. "What happened?" Her voice cracked like breaking glass. "Fire. It burned everything. Mama, Papa, my little brother too." Nathan felt something heavy settle in his chest. His hands balled into fists under the table. His heart broke. Hope's head hung low. Her thin arms hugged her own body like she was trying to disappear. "And now?" Nathan asked quietly. "Now, I sleep near the docks. Behind the fish shops," she whispered. The people around them were still whispering, judging, clicking pictures. But Nathan didn't hear any of it, because in that moment, the richest man in the room felt like the poorest. Nathan Carter had dined with presidents, kings, and industry giants. But tonight, across the table sat the most important guest of his life, a little girl named Hope. who had nothing but her name and the clothes clinging to her tiny frame. Nathan waved at the waiter who stood frozen nearby, unsure whether to approach. The man hesitated, glancing around nervously. "Menu," Nathan said calmly, "and bring out the soup. The best one you have." The waiter nodded quickly and disappeared into the kitchen. Hope's little fingers played with the corner of the napkin. Her shoulders stayed stiff, her chin low, as though she was waiting to be kicked out at any moment. Nathan leaned forward, his voice low and gentle. "Do you like soup?" Hope's gaze lifted, shy and cautious. She nodded. I don't know. I haven't had soup before," Nathan swallowed hard. "How is that possible?" Years old. Never had soup." The waiter returned quickly, placing a steaming bowl of creamy soup in front of Hope. The rich aroma filled the air: potatoes, herbs, cream comfort in a bowl. Hope's eyes widened. She looked at the spoon, confused. Nathan smiled kindly. "It's okay. Just take your time." She picked up the spoon with trembling fingers, scooped a little, and brought it to her mouth. Her lips pressed together as she tasted it, warm, smooth, rich. For a second, her lashes fluttered, and her whole body relaxed. Then, her hand shook. She quickly placed the spoon down, her eyes darting around, her body tightening again. "What's wrong?" Nathan asked softly. I don't want to eat too much. They might get mad," Hope whispered. "Who's they?" Nathan asked. "People who chase me away. The big men at the dock. They say we can't take too much or we get in trouble." Her little voice cracked. "And sometimes the other kids, they fight me for food." Nathan's jaw tensed. He placed both hands on the table, leaning forward. "Hope." His voice was firm but caring. "In this room, you are my guest. No one will take your food. No one will chase you away. You can eat until your tummy says it's enough. Okay?" Eyes grew round, disbelief flashing across her face. Her tiny lips wobbled before she nodded, almost afraid it was a dream. Slowly, she picked up the spoon again, sipping the soup quietly. From the corner of the room, Nathan could see people still, whispering. Some had their phones out, taking pictures and videos. He didn't care. Let them watch. Let them talk. His phone vibrated on the table. It was Kara's PR manager. Nathan answered quietly. "Yes, Kara." Her voice came out rushed, panicked. "Nathan, you're all over the internet. The photos are viral. Social media is blowing up. People are arguing. Some are calling you a saint. Others say this is a setup." Nathan let out a tired sigh, glancing at Hope, who was carefully blowing on a spoonful of soup, her tiny hands steadying. "I don't care about any of that, Kara," he said simply. "You." "What?" Kara sounded stunned. Nathan's voice was calm but unwavering. "I'm not here to impress anyone. I'm having dinner with someone who needed it. Nathan, this isn't good for optics. The board is worried, Nathan. Cut her off, then tell the board they can wait. I'm busy." He hung up. Hope had finished half the soup now, eating a little faster, her cheeks slowly gaining color. Nathan smiled gently better. She gave a small, shy nod. "Would you like some more?" Her eyes flickered with hope and hesitation. Is it okay?" Of course. Nathan waved at the waiter again. "Bring another bowl and some fresh bread." The waiter nodded, this time without hesitation. Hope's small voice whispered, "Thank you, sir." Nathan leaned back in his chair, watching her closely. "You don't need to call me sir." She looked up confused, then, what should I call you?" Nathan chuckled lightly. "You can call me Nathan." Her lips twitched in a shy smile. "Okay?" Nathan, he felt something shift inside his chest. A warmth he hadn't known in years. Nathan watched as Hope dipped the soft bread into the soup, chewing quietly, her movements slowing, as if she finally believed this moment was real. After a while, Nathan asked softly, "Do you go to school?" Hope? Her head shook, curls bouncing lightly. "No, I used to." Before the fire, Nathan's heart squeezed again. He kept his tone gentle. "Do you remember your school?" Her eyes drifted toward the window, toward the dark streets. "Outside, yes. It was nice. I liked the books. I liked the stories." A soft smile appeared on her lips before it faded. "But after, I had nowhere to go." Nathan's fingers tapped the table slowly. "What about other people? No relatives?" She shook her head. "Mama said no one wanted us. We only had each other." Silence settled between them, thick and heavy. Nathan's chest felt tight. He could feel the weight of her small words, the heavy world she carried on her tiny shoulders. Finally, Hope spoke again, her voice barely a whisper. "Do you think I could stay here for a little while? Just until I get warm?" Nathan's throat felt dry. He blinked away, the sudden sting in his eyes. "You'll do more than get warm, Hope." His voice was gentle but firm. "You'll be safe, and you'll never go hungry again." Her little eyes widened, shocked. Her lips parted, her whole body stiffening like she was afraid to believe him. Nathan leaned forward, offering the softest smile he had. Tonight, you're not alone anymore. The warmth of the soup settled in Hope's little belly, and for the first time in a long while, her hands stopped trembling. She leaned back ever so slightly, her small body no longer so tightly curled into itself. Nathan could see it, the weight of hunger slowly lifting off her tiny shoulders. "Are you full, Hope?" he asked, watching her dab at her mouth with the napkin. She nodded shyly, her eyes sparkling just a little. "Yes." "Thank you, Nathan." Nathan smiled. It had been years since hearing his own name felt. "Good." The waiter returned, nervously clearing the plates. Nathan waved his hand to stop him. "Not yet. We'll have dessert." Hope blinked. "What's dessert?" Nathan's smile widened. "It's the sweetest part of any meal." She tilted her head, curious. Nathan spoke softly to the waiter. Ordering the restaurant's signature chocolate lava cake, served with fresh vanilla bean ice cream, Hope watched with quiet fascination. Her cheeks had a little more color now, and the faintest trace of comfort rested in her expression. "Do you know why I'm here tonight, Hope?" Nathan asked gently. She shook her head. "I came here to celebrate the closing of a very big business deal. I was supposed to eat alone, enjoy my expensive food, and feel proud of myself." Hope's eyes remained fixed on him. Listening carefully, Nathan continued, his voice quieter now, "But when you walked in, everything changed. That food didn't matter anymore. The money didn't matter. Only you did." Hope's fingers curled together in her lap. "Why?" she asked softly, unsure. Nathan's jaw clenched before he released a slow breath. "Because sometimes the world makes people like me forget about people like you. We chase money, power, big houses, but we forget about the children sleeping in alleys, about little girls who've lost everything." Her tiny shoulders lifted slightly in a shrug. "Most people don't see me. They pretend I'm not there." Nathan's throat tightened. He rested his elbows on the table, leaning in. "Closer. But I see you now, Hope, and I'm going to make sure the world sees you too." The waiter returned with the dessert. A rich, warm chocolate cake rested on a beautiful white plate, thick chocolate sauce oozing out from the middle. A scoop of ice cream sat beside it, already melting slightly. Hope's mouth fell open. Nathan smiled. "This is dessert." The waiter placed a second spoon beside the plate. Hope hesitated, looking from the plate to Nathan. "Go ahead," he nodded warmly. "It's all yours." Hope dug in slowly, lifting a small scoop of cake and ice cream into her mouth. The sweetness hit her tongue, and her entire face lit up in shock. She hummed softly, closing her eyes for a brief moment. A giggle escaped her lips, pure, honest joy. Nathan couldn't help but chuckle, his chest feeling lighter than it had in years. "I've never tasted anything like this," she whispered after swallowing. "First of many," Nathan replied. "First of many." As Hope enjoyed her dessert, Nathan's phone buzzed again. It was his assistant, Leo. Nathan answered quickly. "Sir, just so you know, the news channels have picked it up. Social media is going crazy. Everyone's watching what you're doing. Right now." Nathan's jaw tightened. "Let them watch." Leo sounded hesitant. "Sir, your reputation, your company? Are you sure?" "I'm sure." Nathan cut him off, voice steady. "I don't care about my reputation tonight. I care about this little girl." Leo was quiet for a moment, then said quietly, "Understood." Nathan ended the call. Hope licked the spoon clean, savoring the last drops of melted ice cream. Nathan leaned back, relaxing into his chair, something rare for him. "Hope," he said gently, "where do you sleep exactly?" "Behind the docks, you said?" She nodded, the joy from dessert slowly giving way to nervousness. There's a small space behind the fish stalls. It stays dry if it doesn't rain. There's a big box I crawl into. Sometimes I get food from the trash bins. Sometimes not." Nathan's hands clenched. He had more money than most people could imagine. And this child was hiding in boxes, eating from trash bins. No more. "Do you have a jacket?" he asked softly. Hope shook her head. "Just this." Nathan noticed again how thin the fabric was, full of holes and tears. Her tiny body was almost swallowed by it. Nathan reached into his coat, pulling out his phone once more. "Leo," said after a quick dial, "send my driver to the front of Mercer Lounge. Tell him to wait. We'll be out in 15 minutes. Leo sounded surprised. "Yes, sir." Nathan turned back to Hope, his voice softer than ever. "How about you come with me tonight?" Hope's little mouth opened slightly, fear flashing. In her eyes, "Where?" she whispered, her voice small, uncertain. "My house. It's big, safe, warm. You'll have your own room, your own bed," Nathan explained gently, not wanting to scare her. Hope's eyes grew even wider, her breathing quickened, her little chest rising and falling rapidly. I don't have to sleep outside anymore?" she asked, like she couldn't believe what she was hearing. Nathan's smile turned soft, his heart aching. No hope, no more sleeping outside. Tears filled her eyes, her small lips trembling. But why would you help me? She asked brokenly. Nobody ever helps people like me. Nathan's voice grew thick with emotion, because it's time someone did. Hope's tears slipped down her cheeks. She wiped them quickly with the back of her hand, afraid to cry in front of him. Nathan stood up, reaching out his hand. Ready to go home, Hope? She stared at his hand. Then slowly, her small hand slipped into his, and in that moment, a powerful billionaire and a forgotten little girl walked out of the grandest restaurant in the city together. The world watched. The cameras clicked, but Nathan didn't care, because for the first time in his life, he felt truly human. The chauffeur stood straight by the black limousine, his face confused as Nathan stepped out, holding a fragile little girl's hand. The doorman, too, blinked twice, unsure whether to open the door or call security. Nathan spoke calmly. Open the door. Doorman quickly responded, pulling the heavy door open. Hope stood frozen, staring at the giant shiny car like it was something out of a fairy tale. Go ahead, Nathan said softly. It's safe. Hope's little fingers gripped Nathan's hand tighter. Slowly she climbed inside, her wide eyes, taking in the polished leather seats, the glowing lights, the smooth quietness of it all. Nathan followed after her and closed the door. The car glided forward, pulling away from the Mercer Lounge, leaving behind the whispers and judgment. For the first few minutes, Hope sat stiffly in her seat, afraid to touch anything, afraid to move. You can relax, Nathan smiled kindly. No one's going to chase you out here. She blinked up at him, whispering, I've never been in a car like this. Nathan's heart ached again. Tonight is full of firsts, isn't it? She smiled a little braver this time. The car drove through the bright city, past towering buildings, through silent streets, and eventually, up the long private driveway leading to Nathan's estate. As they passed through tall iron gates, Hope pressed her little face against the glass, eyes huge with wonder. The mansion stood proudly under the night sky, lights glowing softly from every corner, large white pillars holding up the front porch. Flower beds lined the walkway, and fountains danced in the moonlight. Is this your house? Hope whispered. Nathan nodded gently. Yes, and yours. For as long as you want it. Her breath caught in her throat. The car stopped, and the butler, Mr. Simon, waited at the door, confusion plain on his face. Nathan stepped out, still holding Hope's hand. Good evening, Mr. Carter, and guest, Amanda said carefully. Nathan's tone was warm but firm. Simon, this is Hope. She'll be staying with us. Prepare a room, something cozy, warm, with plenty of blankets. Simon blinked but quickly straightened at once. Sir. Hope looked up at Nathan, her little voice hesitant. Do I really get my own room? Nathan smiled gently. Yes. With a bed and soft pillows and anything else you like. Her lip quivered slightly, tears threatening to spill again. The doors opened, and Hope stepped into a world she had only seen in books, polished floors, soft carpets, grand chandeliers, paintings on every wall. Nathan led her upstairs, past guest rooms, to a smaller, warmer room on the second floor. Simon and the housekeepers quickly brought in fresh sheets, new blankets, soft plush pillows, and even a little teddy bear from the guest nursery. Hope's little fingers brushed the soft bed, testing it like it wasn't real. This is for me? She whispered. All for you. Nathan nodded. Hope swallowed, her eyes shining with emotion. Can I really stay? Nathan crouched to her level, his eyes kind. As long as you need. A housekeeper brought in clean clothes, soft pajamas, and small sizes. Hope hesitated, glancing down at her ragged dress, her tiny body unsure how to respond. Would you like a bath first? Nathan asked softly, careful not to overwhelm her. Her face lit up with a small smile. Yes. Please. Simon showed Hope to the attached bathroom, already filling the tub with warm, bubbly water. Nathan stood outside the door, waiting patiently. For the first time in months, maybe years, Hope washed away the dirt, the pain, the fear. She sank into warm water, letting it soak into her bones, letting it melt away the coldness of the streets. Simon stepped beside Nathan, whispering quietly, Sir, the staff is confused. The PR team has called 5 times. The phone hasn't stopped buzzing since we left the restaurant. Nathan's eyes stayed fixed on the door, his voice quiet but strong. I don't care about them. Cancel all my meetings. For tomorrow, I'm staying here with Hope. Simon looked surprised but nodded. Very well, sir. When Hope finally came out, wrapped in a fluffy robe, her hair clean and brushed, her tiny face free of dirt, Nathan felt his heart swell. She looked so small, but also more alive than when she first walked into that restaurant. Are you sleepy? Nathan asked gently. Hope nodded a little. But I'm scared. Nathan crouched again, his tone soft and comforting. What are you scared of, sweetheart? She whispered that I'll wake up and it'll be gone, that it's a dream. Nathan's heart squeezed painfully. He reached out and held her little hand. This is not a dream. Hope. This is your home now. You are safe. Tears pooled. In her eyes, she hugged Nathan suddenly, her little arms wrapping around his neck tightly. Thank you, she whispered. Nathan's arms came around her carefully, protectively, holding her like she was the most precious thing in the world. You're not alone anymore, Nathan whispered back. That night, as Hope snuggled into soft blankets in her own bed for the first time in years, Nathan sat by the door, watching over her and outside. The world argued about Nathan Carter's actions, debating, criticizing, praising. But inside that quiet mansion, little girl finally slept with a full belly. And no fear. The morning sunlight crept gently through the silk curtains, casting a golden glow across Hope's new room. For a moment, she didn't move. Her body remained still, her mind trapped between sleep and waking. She was used to waking up to cold cement, harsh voices, and the fear of being chased away. But this morning, something felt different. Her fingers brushed against soft blankets. Her head rested on the fluffiest pillow she had ever known. She blinked her eyes open slowly, half expecting the gray walls of the docks. But instead, warm colors greeted her, soft furniture and sunlight that didn't feel threatening. She sat up quickly, panic flickering in her chest. Was it a trick? A dream? Then her small toes touched the soft carpet beneath her and she remembered. Nathan. Carefully, she slid off the bed, her feet sinking into the plush rug. The room was quiet, peaceful. Her heart raced with uncertainty. Was she really allowed to be here? Just then, a soft knock came at the door. Hope jumped, her tiny heart thudding. Before she could say anything, the door opened slightly, and Nathan peeked in, dressed in simple clothes, not the sharp suit from the night before. Good morning, Nathan, greeted with a soft smile. Did you sleep well? Hope blinked at him, uncertain how to answer. Nathan walked in slowly, crouching down so he could meet her eye level. It's okay. You can tell me. Hope's lips pressed together before she whispered, I didn't wake up cold. Nathan's chest warmed, a smile spreading across his face. That's good. She looked around the room nervously, her tiny hands fidgeting. Am I really still here? Nathan nodded. Yes, sweetheart. You're here. You're safe. And you're going to stay. Hope's shoulders relaxed just a little. Nathan reached out his hand. Come, let's have breakfast. Her small hand slipped into his much larger one. Together they walked down the grand staircase. The dining room was nothing like the noisy restaurants she had peeked into before. The air smelled like fresh pancakes and vanilla. A large table waited for them, but Nathan led her to a smaller round table near the window. Cozy and welcoming, Simon stood nearby, giving Hope a kind nod. The kitchen staff smiled from the doorway. Today, Nathan said gently, you can have anything you want. Hope looked at the table, her mouth already watering at the sight of golden pancakes, fresh strawberries, syrup, and warm toast. Her fingers twitched, hesitant. Nathan encouraged softly, eat as much as you like. Hope picked up a piece of pancake, biting into the softness. A quiet hum of happiness escaped her lips, making Nathan's smile wider. As she ate, Nathan sat beside her, sipping his coffee. Hope, he said after a while, do you know how many people are talking about you today? Her chewing slowed, confused. Me? Yes, you. Your photo? Our photo? It's everywhere. People are asking questions. Reporters are calling. News channels want to speak to me. Hope swallowed quickly, panic in her voice. Did I do something wrong? Oh, no, Nathan said quickly. You didn't do anything wrong. Oh. You showed up when people needed to be reminded of kindness. Her eyebrows furrowed, unsure. Nathan explained. People like me, Hope, forget sometimes. We get so busy chasing things, we forget about the people who need help. You reminded me, reminded everyone, that we can be better. Hope blinked back tears, not knowing what to say. Nathan's expression turned thoughtful. Would you like to go somewhere today? Her small shoulders stiffened. Where? Anywhere you want? The park, the bookstore, the zoo, anywhere. Hope's lips parted slightly, shocked by the idea of choice. Nathan chuckled. You don't have to decide right now. Eat first. She smiled shyly, returning to her pancakes, feeling something she hadn't felt in a very long time. Hope. After breakfast, Simon approached Nathan quietly. Sir, your phone keeps ringing. Nathan stood, walking over to his desk where dozens of missed calls flashed on the screen. He answered one, knowing it would be Kara. Nathan. Kara's voice burst through the speaker. The internet's exploding. Hashtags about you are trending worldwide. Some call you a hero. Others think you're making a stunt. What do we tell the press? Nathan watched Hope from across the room as she swung her legs happily while sipping juice. Tell them. Nathan's voice was calm but firm. Tell them I don't care, Kara stammered. Nathan. This could hurt business, or it could remind people that we're human. Nathan cut in smoothly. I'm not releasing any statements. I'm not posing for photos. I'm just helping a child. Kara sighed. Fine, but the board is requesting an emergency meeting. Nathan smiled. Cancel it. I'm busy. With that, he ended the call, walking back to Hope. Ready for a little adventure? Asked gently. Hope nodded, a bright smile curling at her lips. Can we see books? Absolutely, Nathan said warmly. We'll go to the biggest bookstore in the city. The first time in a long while, Nathan Carter didn't think about business, stock prices, or his net worth. All he thought about was giving Hope the day she deserved. The car rolled through the heart of the city, passing tall buildings, busy streets, and flashing billboards. But Nathan only had eyes for the little girl sitting beside him, her face pressed against the window. Taking in every sight like it was magic, she wore fresh clothes now, soft blue sweater, comfortable jeans, and little white sneakers that made her feel like she could fly. Her hair freshly washed and tied in 2 neat braids, bounced gently as the car moved along. Nathan leaned over, his tone casual. Do you like reading, Hope? Hope's smile stretched wide, her head nodding. Quickly, yes, I loved reading at school. Before Nathan didn't push further. He knew every before in her life was tangled with pain. Today, it's about something new. The car finally stopped in front of a grand glass building. The Evergreen Bookstore. It's the largest in the city, filled with thousands of books. Soft couches and warm lights. Hope's mouth fell open. It's huge. Nathan chuckled softly. Wait until you see inside. The doors opened, and the soft scent of old pages, fresh coffee, and adventure greeted them. Hope followed Nathan inside, her little hand clutching his sleeve, eyes wide as saucers. The manager, recognizing Nathan instantly, hurried over his smile, nervous. Mr. Carter, welcome. Do you like the VIP reading room? Nathan shook his head. No, we're here to explore. Hope wandered between shelves taller than any building she'd stood next to. Her fingers brushed over colorful covers, rows of stories waiting to be told. Nathan crouched beside her, whispering, Pick any book you like, or 10, or 20. They're yours. Her eyes snapped to his, confused. I can take them. Home. Nathan nodded. Yes. Your home now has books. A tear slipped from the corner of her eye. But her smile was brighter than the sun outside. Nathan spent hours with her that morning, reading her little stories in the reading corner, helping her pick out books, fairy tales, animal stories, adventure books. Every time she hugged a book to her chest, Nathan felt a part of his own heart. By noon, the car was filled with bags of books, and Hope sat beside him, beaming. Are you hungry again? Nathan asked. Hope hesitated. Can we get burgers? Nathan laughed. Of course, burgers, it is. They drove to a quiet, family-run diner, far from the fancy Mercer lounge. Nathan preferred it that way, no flashing cameras, no prying eyes, just simple food, good people, a safe corner booth. Hope bit into her burger, humming happily, swinging her legs as she ate. Nathan felt his phone buzz again but ignored it, focusing only on Hope's happy little smile. After lunch, they stopped at a small clothing store, where Hope's excitement doubled. She tried on colorful jackets, warm sweaters, little boots for winter. Nathan made sure she had everything: warm clothes, comfy shoes, pajamas with cartoons, even a soft yellow raincoat. Back home. As they unloaded the bags, Hope's arms stretched as wide as they could, trying to carry her treasure of books, her cheeks rosy with happiness. Simon stood at the door, watching them come in with a soft smile. Welcome back, sir. I see you had quite the shopping spree. Nathan chuckled first. Rule of this house, Simon, no one goes without books. Simon's eyes twinkled. A good rule, sir. Hope ran up to her room, her little feet padding up the stairs, her new books tucked safely in her arms. Nathan leaned against the stair rail, feeling a peace he hadn't known in years. Simon's? The voice was quiet, thoughtful. The board called again. Sir? And the news stations. Nathan's gaze stayed on the staircase, his voice calm. Let them wait. Simon nodded. Very good, sir. As evening rolled in, Hope came back downstairs, her little feet wearing warm socks, her hair messy from playing, but her smile wide. And free? Nathan sat with her in the living room, reading stories, laughing at silly characters, and showing her pictures of animals she'd never seen. Later, as the sun set, Hope grew quieter, curling into Nathan's side, her tiny head resting. Against his arm, Nathan looked down, whispering, tired. She nodded softly. Nathan carried her upstairs, tucking her into bed, placing her favorite new book beside her pillow. As he stood, ready to leave, Hope's tiny voice stopped him. Nathan, will you still be here tomorrow? His throat tightened. He walked back, sitting beside her, brushing a stray curl from her forehead. Every morning, every night I'll be here. Her small lips curled into a sleepy smile, her eyelids fluttering closed, comfort washing over her like a warm blanket. That night, as Nathan sat by her door once again, ignoring his buzzing phone, ignoring the news flashing on TV, he realized something important. Something important. For the first time in his life, his billions meant something real. Because tonight, he had changed a life. And maybe, just maybe, he had saved his own. The next morning, Nathan woke to the sound of rain softly tapping against the window. Thick clouds hovered above the mansion, the world outside gray and stormy. But inside, it was peaceful. Nathan stretched, something in his chest feeling lighter than it had in years. He glanced at his phone messages. Missed calls, news headlines, all screaming for his attention, but he turned it over face down. His feet carried him. Down the long hallway, past the empty guest rooms, until he reached Hope's door. He knocked gently. Hope, his voice was soft. From inside, a quiet giggle floated through the door. Then little feet padded across the floor, and the door creaked. Open Hope stood there, wearing her new soft pink pajamas with little yellow stars. Her hair was a mess again, wild and curly, but her eyes, they sparkled. Good morning, she whispered shyly. Nathan crouched down, grinning. Morning, kiddo. Behind her, books were scattered everywhere, plush pillows stacked into a little reading fort. A half-finished drawing sat on the bedside table. Did you read late? Nathan asked. Hope giggled. Maybe. Just a little. Nathan laughed. That's allowed. But only after breakfast. Her tummy growled in response, making both of them laugh. Come on then, Nathan offered his hand. Let's go raid the kitchen. As they walked downstairs, Simon appeared, holding a silver tray. Breakfast is already ready, sir. Pancakes. And warm cocoa for Hope, coffee for you. Hope clapped excitedly, running ahead. Nathan smiled after her. Following at a slower pace, the dining room windows showed the gray, rainy morning. But inside the house, the smell of warm pancakes made everything feel like summer. Hope ate happily, her legs swinging while Nathan scrolled lazily through the news, finally letting himself see what the world was saying. Nathan sighed. Sipping his coffee, Simon approached, setting down the morning paper. Sir, the board is demanding a virtual meeting. They say the company's stock dipped slightly due to the controversy. Nathan barely looked up. The company will survive. Simon hesitated. The media won't stop anytime soon. And some of the sponsors are... Nathan interrupted calmly. Let them pull out. Let them talk. I have more important things to do. Simon glanced at Hope, her little face glowing as she licked syrup from her fingers. Understood, sir. After breakfast, the rain poured harder outside, but inside, Nathan turned on the fireplace, setting up a cozy corner with pillows and blankets. Hope stared in wonder at the flickering flames, hugging her new teddy bear. Want to watch a movie? Nathan asked. Her eyes lit up. I've never watched one before. Nathan blinked, surprised. Never. She shook her head. I've seen TVs, through windows, but never watched one. Nathan smiled, grabbing the remote. Well, that changes today. He picked a funny animated movie full of animals talking and dancing, and Hope sat curled under a blanket. Giggling at every silly scene, Nathan leaned back, feeling something warm inside his chest. This was happiness. Not awards, not stock prices. But the sound of a child's pure, innocent laughter. Hours passed in quiet joy. Later, during lunch, Hope asked softly, Nathan, do you work? Nathan laughed. Yes, usually. Today, I'm working on something more important. Hope looked curious. What? Nathan smiled kindly. You. Her cheeks flushed, and she grinned, hiding her face behind her hands. Nathan leaned forward, voice gentle. Hope, would you like to stay here forever? Her smile faded into hesitation, fear returning in her little eyes. Forever? She whispered. Nathan nodded. No more streets, no more hunger, no more fear. Hope's tiny lip quivered, but I'm just a nobody. Nathan's heart tightened. He reached across the table, taking her small hand in his. You are not a nobody, Hope. You are someone very special, and you deserve a life full of love and safety and joy. Her eyes filled with tears, but she smiled through them. You mean I could be your family? She whispered, afraid to say the words out loud. Nathan's throat thickened. He nodded slowly. Yes, if you want. I can be your family. Hope stood suddenly, rushing into his arms, hugging him tightly, little tears soaking his shirt. Nathan held her close, his own eyes blinking back emotion. Outside, the rain poured harder, the world roaring in chaos, but inside, there was peace. Inside, there was a new beginning. The next few days passed in a way Nathan Carter had never experienced before. The mansion, once cold and quiet, now echoed with soft laughter, the patter of small feet, and the comforting hum of life. Every morning, Hope greeted Nathan at the breakfast table with a bright smile.
Oh.
She was eating properly, sleeping peacefully. And for the first time in years, living without fear, Nathan, too, felt something shift inside him. The constant pressure of business calls, deadlines, and corporate chaos seemed smaller, distant. One afternoon, as Nathan worked from his home office, Hope wandered in, holding one of her new storybooks. Her hair was a little messy, her socks mismatched, but her eyes, they were full of light. "Nathan," she asked shyly. He looked up from his laptop, smiling warmly. "Yes, sweetheart? Can you read with me?" she asked, her voice hopeful, but hesitant, like she didn't want to disturb him. Nathan didn't hesitate. He closed his laptop without a second thought, standing up. Of course, reading time sounds much more important than business calls. Hope's grin was wide and pure. They settled on the big couch by the fireplace. Nathan reading aloud while Hope curled against his side. Occasionally tracing her little finger over the colorful illustrations, Nathan felt the warmth of the moment settle deep in his heart. He realized then how empty his life had been before she walked in. His billion-dollar empire suddenly felt meaningless compared to the simple joy of a child's giggle. The softness of her leaning against him, the trust building in her little heart. Later that evening, Simon approached him with a tablet. "Sir, the adoption paperwork is ready." Nathan set down the book carefully. Hope had fallen asleep on the couch beside him, soft snores escaping her lips, her tiny hands still gripping his shirt. Nathan's voice lowered, almost a whisper. "Everything's set?" Simon nodded. "Yes." "The best legal team made sure everything is in order?" "They fast-tracked the process, given your influence." Nathan let out a soft sigh of relief. "Tomorrow morning," Nathan said quietly, brushing a loose curl from Hope's forehead, "we make it official." Simon hesitated. "Sir, the media is still spinning stories. You're being called everything from a saint to a fool." Nathan glanced down at Hope, her little chest rising and falling in peaceful sleep, and smiled. "Let them talk, Simon. For once, I'm doing something that's just for me." Simon smiled, genuine and kind. "Very good, sir." The next day was sunny. Nathan dressed casually, taking Hope out for a simple breakfast at a small local cafe. Hope was still adjusting to the freedom of ordering whatever she wanted, but her giggles came easier now. Her eyes wandered with wonder. After breakfast, they arrived at the downtown courthouse. Nathan crouched beside Hope, holding her small hands in his. "Hope," he said gently, "today we're going to tell the world something very important." She blinked, confused. "What is it?" "It's not alone anymore," Nathan smiled. "You'll never be alone again." Little lips trembled, emotion rising in her chest. Inside, the process was quicker than most, thanks to Nathan's connections and resources. But it wasn't the speed that mattered. It was the moment the judge smiled down kindly at Hope and said, "From this day forward, your name will be Hope Carter." Hope's breath caught in her throat. She looked up at Nathan, tears filling her eyes, unsure if it was real. Nathan hugged her tight, whispering, "You're my daughter now, forever." Hope sobbed quietly into his chest, gripping his shirt, her heart finally believing it was true. No more dark alleyways, no more hunger, no more fear. She had a family. She had a father. She had a home. That night, as they returned to the mansion, Hope danced around her room, showing off her new name, Hope Carter, she sang, spinning in circles. Nathan watched from the doorway, his own heart full to the brim. He thought about the fortune he had built, the companies he owned, the power he wielded, and none of it compared to the joy of saving one little girl from being forgotten. Hope Carter, the girl who had walked barefoot into his life, unknowingly rescued him too. A week later, Nathan sat in his sprawling office, but it looked completely different now. The towering walls that once held corporate awards were decorated with Hope's colorful drawings. His expensive marble desk was littered with tiny painted rocks Hope had collected on their afternoon walks. The mansion wasn't just a mansion anymore. It was a home. Hope ran into the office barefoot, clutching a little notebook. "Nathan, look," she chirped excitedly. "I wrote my first poem." Nathan spun his chair around, smiling. "Let's hear it, sweetheart." She stood proudly in front of him, her small voice clear and sure. "I used to have no pillow. I used to have no bed. Now I have a daddy, and so many books to be read." Nathan swallowed around the lump in his throat. Hope giggled, running into his arms. "Did you like it?" she asked eagerly. "I loved it," Nathan whispered, kissing the top of her head. "It's the most beautiful poem I've ever heard." Simon stepped into the room, tablet in hand. "Sir, the press conference is scheduled for this afternoon." Nathan looked down at Hope, who was busy climbing into his lap. "Remind me, Simon, are we doing this again?" Simon smiled softly. "To make it official. To tell the world your story in your own words, not theirs." Hope tilted her head. "What's a press thing?" Nathan chuckled. A bunch of people with cameras asking too many questions. Her eyes widened. Will I have to talk? Nope, Nathan said gently. You don't have to do anything. Just stay by my side. Later that afternoon, the media gathered in front of the Carter estate. The grand lawn had been transformed into a quiet, respectable venue. Cameras lined the path, reporters murmured among themselves. Nathan stepped up to the podium, Hope's small hand resting in his. He took a deep breath before speaking into the microphone. Good afternoon, his voice was steady, calm. Many of you have been asking questions, making judgments, crafting headlines. Some people say this is a PR stunt. Some call it charity, but it's not. Hope squeezed his hand gently, grounding him. Nathan continued, This is humanity. This is love. A little girl walked into my life and reminded me that no amount of money, no business deal, no social status means anything if we can't look after one another. The crowd fell quiet, cameras snapping, but mouths silenced. Nathan looked down at Hope, his smile soft. This is Hope Carter, my daughter. She has changed my life forever. And from this day on, I promise, she will never know hunger again. She will never feel forgotten. She will always have a home. Hope blinked up at him, her little face glowing. Nathan finished, to everyone watching. You don't need to be a billionaire to change a life. Sometimes it only takes a meal. Sometimes just listening. Sometimes seeing the invisible. Hope whispered shyly, like you saw me. Nathan smiled, his heart full. Exactly. Ain't. Stepped back, shielding Hope from the flashing lights as security led them inside. The world exploded in applause. Stories ran for days. But inside the mansion, none of that mattered. That night, as Nathan tucked Hope into bed, she held on to his hand longer than usual. Can I call you Daddy now? She asked, her voice almost a whisper. Nathan's eyes burned. He leaned in, brushing a kiss on her forehead. Nothing would make me happier, he whispered. Hope's smile stretched from ear to ear. Good night, Daddy. Nathan sat by her, until her breathing grew soft and steady. He walked out of the room, heart heavy with gratitude. Knowing his life had been forever changed by 5 little words from a hungry child, the next few months passed like a beautiful, quiet dream. The mansion transformed from a house of luxury to a home full of life. Hope filled every empty space with her laughter, with her stories, with her drawings that now hung proudly on Nathan's office walls. Gone were the cold, lonely dinners Nathan used to have.
Oh.
Every evening ended with Hope excitedly telling him about her day, showing him new books she had read, or animals she wanted to see. The kitchen was no longer just for gourmet meals. It became a place where they made pancakes together, sometimes burning them, but always laughing about it, Nathan's. Life changed in ways even he hadn't expected. Board meetings became fewer. Business trips were canceled. Late-night dinners with investors were replaced by bedtime stories for Hope. His priorities had shifted, and for the first time Nathan didn't feel like he was missing out. He felt complete. One Saturday morning, Hope came running into the garden where Nathan sat, sipping his coffee. Daddy, she chirped. Guess what? Nathan grinned, already excited.
Tell me.
She held up a paper, her tiny fingers gripping it proudly. I got into Willow Creek Academy. It's a real school. With teachers and a library and everything. Stood up, scooping her into his arms and spinning her around. Hope squealed with joy, giggling loudly. I knew you would, Nathan said, setting her down, brushing a curl from her cheek. You're the smartest kid I know. Hope's eyes sparkled. Can we go shopping for my school stuff? I need notebooks and pencils. And a school bag. Nathan laughed. Of course we can. We'll get the best ones. That afternoon, they visited the bookstore again, followed by a small stationery shop where Hope excitedly chose colorful pens, bright notebooks, and a backpack with a little lion on it. Nathan watched her from a distance, amazed at how much she had blossomed. The quiet, scared little girl who once asked for food was now beaming with confidence, talking to shopkeepers, making decisions, and smiling like sunshine. Later that evening, back home, Hope packed her school supplies neatly, her clothes freshly ironed by the housekeepers. Her shoes polished and ready by the door, Nathan stood in the doorway of her room, arms crossed, a soft smile playing on his lips. You nervous? He asked. Hope hesitated, fingers playing with the straps of her backpack. A little. I've never been to a real school. Nathan walked in, crouching down in front of her. It's okay to be nervous, but you know what? Hope's wide eyes met his. You're brave. You've already done harder things than most grown-ups I know, Nathan said sincerely. I'll be there every step of the way. Hope's little shoulders straightened. She nodded confidently. Okay, I can do it. The next morning, Nathan drove her to school himself. Reporters tried to follow, cameras clicked, but Nathan shielded her gently, whispering, Ignore them. All that matters is your first day. Hope clutched his hand tight as they walked through the school gates. The principal, a kind woman with soft eyes, greeted them warmly. Nathan crouched one last time before letting her go. You go show them. Who Hope Carter is? Hope nodded, her lip quivering just slightly. Before taking a deep breath and walking bravely inside, Nathan watched until she disappeared into the school building, his chest swelling with pride, his heart full as he walked. Back to his car, Simon approached him. Sir, the office called again. The shareholders want a word. They think your new lifestyle is distracting you. Nathan smiled. They're right. I am distracted. Simon blinked, surprised. I'm distracted. Nathan continued. And for the first time in my life, I'm happy about it. Simon chuckled softly. Very good, sir. Driving away from the school, Nathan realized something in saving Hope. He had been saved too. She had taught him compassion again, how to slow down, how to love freely, and how to find joy in the smallest things. As the car turned into the driveway of the mansion, Nathan whispered to himself, Thank you, Hope. Because those 5 words, can I eat with you, had rewritten both their destinies forever. Weeks turned into months. What started as an act of kindness became something far greater. Dash family Nathan Carter, once called the untouchable billionaire, now drove Hope to school each morning, walked her to the gates, and greeted her every afternoon with a proud smile. His assistants learned never to schedule meetings during those precious hours. His business partners slowly adjusted to seeing the once intimidating CEO attend fewer boardrooms and more school events. Hope thrived. She didn't just attend school, she bloomed in it. Her teachers marveled at her curiosity, her hunger for knowledge, her gentle heart. She was polite, bright, and quietly confident. But what made them love her most was the way she always looked out for others. The shy kid who sat alone, the child who struggled with reading, the girl with patched-up shoes. Hope remembered what it felt like to be invisible. And she made sure no one around her ever felt that way again. At home, Nathan built a life around her weekend adventures at the zoo, cozy movie nights, long bedtime stories, pancake breakfasts, and the quiet talks that always made Hope feel seen. One evening, after a family movie marathon, Hope leaned against Nathan on the couch, her voice soft. Daddy, do you think Mama and Daddy, my first ones, can see me now? Nathan hugged her close, his throat tightening. I think they can, he whispered, and I think they're so proud of you. Hope smiled, her little head resting against his chest. Do you think they're happy I found you? Yes. Blinked away the sting in his eyes, holding her tighter. I know they are, and I'm happy. More than I've ever been. That you found me. Time kept moving, but the world felt quieter. Gentler Hope decorated the mansion with her little touches flowers on the kitchen counter. Her drawings proudly pinned to the fridge, warm colors in rooms that once felt sterile. And Nathan, man who used to believe success was measured by profits, by market shares, by powerful handshakes, realized the only success that mattered was the love that bloomed in his home. Occasionally, the media still tried to tell his story, twisting it into headlines. Billionaire's act of charity. Unexpected adoption shocks high society. Carter's soft side. Real or performance? But Nathan never cared, because every night, when Hope whispered, "Good night, Daddy," and fell asleep in her cozy room, surrounded by books and dreams, he knew the truth. This wasn't charity. It wasn't a story for headlines. It was a quiet miracle. 2 broken hearts, finding each other in a world that often rushed by too fast, and it was real. Nathan stood by Hope's side through every little moment. First school play. First lost tooth. First silly handmade birthday card that made him laugh more than any business deal ever had. He learned how to tie ponytails, how to make the perfect hot chocolate, and how to slow down and listen, not just to Hope, but to life. And Hope, in return, learned to trust again, to smile without fear, to sleep soundly, knowing tomorrow would come with warmth and safety. One rainy evening, months after their first meeting, Nathan stood by the same Mercer lounge where it all began. He looked through the windows at the suited men, the sharp business crowd, the perfectly plated dinners. He remembered that night how a little girl had walked barefoot into his life and changed everything. Hope stood beside him now, wrapped in her yellow raincoat, holding his hand. "Why are we here, Daddy?" she asked. Nathan smiled softly. "To remind myself where life really began." Hope tilted her head, confused. Nathan squeezed her hand, crouching to her level. "That night, I thought I was helping you, but really, you helped me." Hope smiled shyly, not fully understanding, but feeling the love in his voice. "And I'll spend every day making sure you never feel hungry, or lonely, or forgotten ever again," Nathan whispered. Hope hugged him tightly, and for a long moment, they stood there in the rain, a simple man and his little girl, hearts full of gratitude. The world behind the glass kept spinning in its rush for success, but outside, in the cool rain, 2 hearts beat quietly, softly. Knowing they had found something far richer than wealth, they had found home. They had found family. And all it took was 5 simple words. Can I eat with you? Years passed gently like pages turning in a treasured book. Hope Carter grew to her. Stronger, more confident. The little girl who had once whispered for a meal in a restaurant now stood tall in school halls, leading charity drives, helping other children, speaking about kindness at school assemblies. Her heart remained gentle, her spirit unbreakable. Nathan Carter became something more than a billionaire. He became known not for his business empire, but for his humanity. He still ran his companies, but from a distance, often from the quiet corner of his home office. While helping Hope with homework or listening to her newest poem, the world still whispered about him, but Nathan only listened to one voice, the quiet, happy voice of his daughter. The mansion was never lonely again. Birthdays were filled with candlelit cakes and silly party hats. Winters meant snowball fights and clumsy attempts at baking. Summers were for road trips, sunsets by the sea, and campfire stories. Nathan built more than a home, he built memories. And those memories healed the cracks in his soul. And every year, on the same day they first met, Nathan and Hope went back to the little alley near Mercer Lounge. They brought hot meals, blankets, care packages for those still struggling. Hope would hand out the meals with a bright smile, and always tell the story of how her life changed because one man listened instead of turning away. One evening, sitting under the stars, Hope, now older, wiser, but with the same soft heart, rested her head on Nathan's shoulder. "Do you ever think about that night?" she asked quietly. Nathan smiled, watching the sky. "Every day," he replied. "Every single day. Why did you say yes to me?" Hope wondered, her voice soft. Nathan looked down at her, pride shining in his eyes. "Because I saw someone who deserved love. And because deep down I think I was waiting for you too." Hope's heart swelled with quiet joy. "You saved me." Nathan shook his head gently. "You saved me first, Hope." They sat in silence, watching the night sky, stars blinking gently above them, in a world that moved too fast, that often ignored the quiet cries of those in need. Two souls had found each other, not by accident, not by charity, but by fate, by kindness, by 5 simple words spoken bravely by a hungry little girl. "Can I eat with you?" And from that moment on, neither of them were ever alone again, because sometimes all it takes to change a life is to simply listen. And sometimes in answering the smallest voice, you end up saving your own heart. Forever, ever.